great alum, and there were great alums before him. Now listen, I know it's hard for you, you young people. You know I'm 40 now. And I know you young people in the audience, you have a hard time listening if there isn't multimedia and music and all that. For the next few minutes, I want you to listen to the great Hal Mikelson. He's going to tell you a story every Stanford student must know, and every Stanford alum does know. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Hal Mikelson classic. Give him a nice 71.
71! Ladies and gentlemen, I have been asked to recapitulate the history of the Stanford Axe, and in reflect upon the eternal dialectic between everything that is brave and noble and wise and worthy and red, and everything that is cowardly, base, contemptible, and blue. In the pioneer days of a great Western university, Will Irwin, class of 1898, composed a stirring battle cry, its unique insistent meter, borrowed from a play by Aristophanes. Give 'em the axe, the axe, the axe. The next day, April 15th, 1899, at a baseball diamond in San Francisco, the great Will Irwin produced a Stanford Axe. In April of 1899, preparing for a string of baseball games against the University of California, the Cardinal Yell leader had decided that this incantation could be reinforced with an appropriate visual aid. He paid a hardware store $4.50. He really did. He paid a hardware store $4.50 for a 15-inch woodcutter's axe destined to be a trophy ever after. At a bonfire rally, he raised the weapon high, transfixing the attentions of the crowd. He took an effigy bear in one hand and the Stanford Axe in the other.
Yes.
And he did what any sensitive, fully evolved human being would do. He chopped the bear to ribbons. And at that baseball game in 1899 in San Francisco, from the first inning to the last, he demonstrated the intended operation of that axe with careful discipline, offering helpful demonstrations to those who were attired in blue. But our rivals' hearts were evil, and their intentions were larcenous, and their hands were cunning, and their feet were swift. And within 24 hours of its first public appearance, the Stanford Axe was stolen by criminal conspirators from the university. They hid it in a butcher shop. They cut off its handle. They ferried it across the bay to the foul and cavernous lodgings of the dirty golden flea bags. For 30 years following this capture and asportation, the Osgoids held the axe, guarded it, and paraded it as their most valued trophy. But the greatest chapter in the history of the axe was yet to be written. The residents of an obscure dormitory at Stanford called Sequoia Hall made it the focus of their undergraduate careers to recover the hall, to recover the axe for the Cardinal Red. In 1927, in 1928, in 1929, they tried and failed. But their struggles were destined to be crowned with glory when they traveled to Berkeley on April 3rd, 1930, for the annual public display of the axe at the Hearst Greek Theater. They went to the bank where the axe was kept, disguised as press photographers and sports reporters. They asked for the axe to be held aloft. "We'd like to take a picture for the papers." And as the powder flashed for the photograph they feigned to take, the immortal 21 snatched the axe away and returned it to its rightful place in Colorado. Since that time, my friends, the axe has been taken and retaken, captured and recaptured, appropriated and misappropriated, hijacked and low-jacked, until it stands with the Maltese Falcon and the towels in the Fairmont Hotel as the most stolen objects in the history of Western North America. Our memories turn now to the decade taste forgot, to the 1970s, to 1973. The axe was held at Cal as the result of temporary reverses on the gridiron. 3 Stanford students in a small but proud fraternity resolved that they would recapture it for the forces of truth and light. Impersonating Cal's football coach, they called the UC Rally Committee. They asked for the axe to be brought to Palo Alto for a press event at Ming's restaurant to be shown to photographers and sports reporters, and they greeted it with familiar words. We'd like to take a picture for the papers. And the success of the infamous three in recovering the axe again on that occasion is ample proof of just how much you can learn at Berkeley in the course of 43 years. Good friends, fellow Stanfordians, this Saturday is the 110th big game. Once again, all that is heroic, uplifting, and red will confront all that is tawdry, meretricious, and blue. The story of the immortal 21 reminds us that all of us, as Stanford's sons and daughters, cheering from the sidelines, are part of an epic rivalry. The Capulets and the Montagues, the Guelphs and the Ghibellines, Oxford and Cambridge, the Hatfields and the McCoys, the Jets and the Sharks. Stanford and California, eternally united in perpetual opposition.
Stanford.
And for us, once again, in the spirit of the immortal 21, the watchwords are, beat Cal! All right.